SummerSlam
podcast.
That was delayed.
Yeah, because you froze for like 3 seconds. Your face went all blurred.
Bollocks. I apologise to everybody already because that guitar was out of tune and I've been in a bit of a rush and I didn't tune it in. That sounded awful. So, if you have stayed, this is SummerSlam.
It's been 4 weeks since the last pay-per-view, so...
Yeah, but we've obviously been doing the questions one, but yeah, it's this one, and then we've got Backlash next week.
Payback.
Payback, whatever.
Yeah. Even then, I was like... I was watching SummerSlam with my brother, and I was there like, they haven't even mentioned Payback once, and then they're showing the advert. I was like, so this is the first official mention, and it's next week.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? I really don't understand it.
No.
I hope when things settle down or down the line in an interview, they go, why did you do that? And hopefully their answer will make a little bit of sense, but I still don't understand it.
Yeah. So yeah, like I say, we're reviewing SummerSlam. So like, subscribe. We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iMusic, whatever it is, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Angle Slam Podcast and you will find us for whatever platform you prefer. Pretty sure there's not been any deaths.
No, don't think so.
No.
So anything wouldn't do the day, so...
Yeah, so I would say that it's time to crack on, I suppose. Yes. And I assume it's pre-show, which I didn't watch.
I didn't watch the pre-show. I went for a kick. But I nearly didn't because... I said, right, I'm just going to research what the pre-show match is.
Yeah.
Thinking it'd be something that has been unannounced or something like that. Checked, it was United States Championship, which on one side, I was like, really? We're doing this again? Like, demoting the US title to the pre-show? But on the other hand, I kind of understood it.
Yeah, I mean, all the rest of them. Saying that, I mean, you could have switched it out with the Raw tag titles, to be honest, but...
Well, we said that, but then we thought you've got to have at least maybe one tag team match on the main card.
Yeah, I suppose.
Just for a bit of diversity.
Yeah, so Apollo Crews won that one, didn't he? Which, again, I assumed he would do, because I think it's going to be him and Bobby Lashley kind of going at it soon.
Well, to be honest, if it had been on the... if we were doing predictions, it had been on the main card, I probably would have guessed MVP. I thought they might have gone with the whole... Well, not shock factor as such, but it's just to keep the storyline rolling. And the Hurt business have kind of got a bit of momentum behind them now. But as soon as it was on the pre-show, I was like, more than likely a retain then. But yeah, that was that. So main card.
I suppose what we should do is talk about first is the Thunderdome kind of aspect of everything. And the actual pomp and circumstance with all the fireworks and... a proper ring and arena and everything again, and I'm going to be honest, I was quite happy with it. I thought it was all right. I mean, even I know they pumped in a little bit of the crowd noise, but this time it didn't seem distracting. It wasn't like the Edge Orton match where it was just so out of place. This, it felt natural. It didn't feel that jarring, and I got comfortable quite quickly with having as close as we can to a normal arena. And I'll be honest, I was all right with it.
It was okay. I mean, I'm very like impartial to it. I'm not like, oh, this is amazing. It feels real, but I'm not hating it. There was just a couple of times where it felt slightly distracting. Like you could tell when like a load of them went black or froze or whatever.
Or someone had a Pikachu on one of the screens.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got used to it, but at first it was kind of like. It felt, again, like you said, it felt proper again. It felt like, okay, giant stadium. And there are kind of fans there. But it was weird watching them watch the match kind of lazily at their desk or something like that.
But it's the best of a bad situation. It's the best they can do. And I'll be honest, it's definitely a step up from the Performance Centre. It feels a little bit more of a big deal.
Yeah, and the Thunderdome is what as far as the fans and the screens, that is what it is. Like I say, best of a bad situation, so that's cool. Everything else I liked, the size and the lights and stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think they might go, even with a live crowd, I think they go a bit overboard with LED stuff. I think I said halfway through the show, like, to my brother, like, do we really need like the LED ring post and ring barrier thing?
I suppose that's too much.
Yeah, when it first came in, it was kind of, oh, that's new. But what was wrong with the ring skirt and just the steel post? Why do we have to, for this example being SummerSlam, why does SummerSlam have to be on everything? We get what we're watching.
Yeah.
I think it almost felt like with the Thunderdome, it felt too bright.
Really?
It just, not that it was like, oh God, that's like blinding me or something like that. But because it was that bright, it made me very aware of the Thunderdome during a match.
Right.
I'm not saying it took me out of it a lot. It just took me out of it a bit. Even when I was watching the match, it was kind of like in my peripheral vision of, there's monitors behind them. You know what I mean?
I suppose you can't not see it, I suppose. But I didn't think it was that jarring for me personally. It didn't seem to bother me. I actually quite enjoyed seeing what kind of popped up on the screens, like the person's Pikachu and all that kind of stuff. And Fire Velveteen Dream, I think, was on there at some point.
The what was it?
Fire Velveteen Dream was on one of the screens.
Yeah, that came up a lot, apparently. But again, not a knock, because it was fun. But the fact that you're noticing the Pikachus and stuff takes you out of the concentration of the match.
I know, yeah, but I mean, we've had that before even with a live crowd. Like, I mean, I see that with the beach ball incident, someone actually had a beach ball on one of their screens.
Well, me and Zach were saying it would be great if a beach ball just starts like flying about, or the hot dog guy walks through the monitors. Or something like that. But obviously he didn't. But it was okay. I'll probably get more used to it as we go along.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm still clamouring for the whole, God, please just get some fans in there.
Yeah, I know, but it's just not safe enough yet.
No. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Yeah, first match.
Yes, SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley versus Asuka.
So it's part 1 of 2.
Yeah, I kind of figured it'd be the first match, looking at what the card was.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of the beat the clock thing on SmackDown, so that explained why Bayley went on first and Sasha second. It was all right. It was one of them where I don't know. From the opening bell, I wasn't like invested straight away. I was like not looking at my phone and stuff, but there was not a lot in hindsight that I can remember. Nothing stood out.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really stands out for me, but it wasn't a terrible match. I still quite enjoyed it because it was telling like a 2-part story, and I think the main focus here was kind of the story being told of Banks and Bayley trying to help each other out and get away with stuff, and then Asuka having to overcome the odds, and they were working over the leg and all that kind of stuff, and I quite like that kind of stuff. It's like the plucky underdog kind of story, which we all kind of like. So I quite liked it, and I also like the fact that I know no matter what happens here, I've got more to come in the evening with this. So it's like this is like Infinity War, and then the second part is Endgame. You know what I mean? It's just like you've got 2 nice parts to kind of put this together with, and I thought it was a reasonable opener. I didn't mind it. I honestly thought she might beat Bayley instead of Sasha, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a knock on them or anything like that. It was just for a pay-per-view the caliber of SummerSlam and how much momentum this storyline is going at the minute. It didn't really capture me straight away.
Yeah,
it was one of I don't know if it was a weak opener or not, but it was a match it was like a good SmackDown match.
Okay.
Yeah, it maybe just about pay-per-view worthy, but everything they did, I'd kind of expect to see in a normal episode of SmackDown or Raw. As far, not just by wrestling, but even with storyline-wise. Obviously, the main part of that whole story would be maybe not so much how it ended, but, right, who's going to win here?
Yeah.
Because we know Asuka's got a match later on. Is she going to walk in as SmackDown Women's Champion with Bayley and Sasha's confidence not? Or, is it going to be the latter? Obviously, it was the latter, which... Well, also, one thing I didn't get, when they had the interview afterwards, why were they standing in a different ring?
Yeah, I found that weird. Like a backstage thing with like a full ring. I was like, why make the effort to do that? Just make it a regular backstage area.
What was wrong with the curtain and the screen?
Yeah.
This way it's always been.
What a waste.
So, yeah, it just seemed a bit weird. Again, it just seemed they were going balls to the wall and everything that they didn't need to. Whether it be LED screens or just, we're going to do an interview in a ring. Well, if you're going to do the interview, why not do it in the ring?
Yeah.
It seemed a bit weird, but yeah, the match itself was okay. Bayley obviously won.
Yeah, with kind of like a little bit of help from Sasha, wasn't it? Sort of. It was like...
There was a couple of distractions.
Yeah.
I think a couple of times Asuka knocked Sasha off the apron. And then I think the third time she missed and Bayley took advantage of it.
Yeah, that was it.
Was it a roll-up?
I think it was a roll-up. Yeah, I mean, that was my only downside. Is that if it was, I'm pretty sure it was a roll-up. It was. Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed that it was a roll-up.
Yeah, I think the weirdness and the problem with the match was after the Bayley Asuka thing, it didn't feel like a match end because, like you say, it was a kind of a part 1 and part 2 situation. So you didn't get that whole, oh wow, that match was great, it's over, this is the winner. It was kind of like, right, that's that. Now we've got to wait till the next part, a few hours down the line. So yeah, but it was all right, I suppose. So, and I'm okay with Bayley keeping.
Yeah, because she is really doing well as a heel. I can't deny it.
She's great as a heel. I'm not sure if her wrestling game's gone down a little bit.
I'd say it was all right. I'd say it was still fine.
Yeah, it's really unfair, I suppose. But when as good as Bayley is, when you compare her to the likes of Asuka, Sasha, and Charlotte, it's kind of like, well, yeah, if I had to pick out of those, like Bayley or Asuka, Sasha or Sasha or Bayley, whatever, I'd always going to pick the other one that isn't Bayley.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, out of those three, Becky Lynch is like that sometimes as well. But yeah, sometimes Bayley's facing a lot of women where I think the opponent is better than Bayley.
Right.
At the minute, again, not a knock, just an opinion. So yes.
So what was next?
The Raw Tag Championship.
Yeah. Street Profits versus Garza and Andrade. I did quite like the fact that they dropped a load of plastic cups from the ceiling.
Yeah, I liked that.
That was pretty cool. I quite liked that. That was fun. I was kind of hoping that the Street Profits would run up and down through the middle of the LED boards, but I can imagine there's probably just too much wiring. But it would have been fun. And we had KO on commentary as well, which, that was fine. I quite like that. KO's always fun and entertaining anyway. He wandered out and they just looked at all the screens and everything. Go, these are my friends! And I laughed. I was like, you are so funny, dude. You were just so good at being sarky and funny.
But the thing with KO, he's again, I think, making the best of a bad situation. Because I felt a little bit bad for him because he seems to have been, I'm thinking, really? He's now been demoted to the Street Profits cheerleader. This guy used to be a fucking animal in the ring. And now he's just sitting there with a tie, doing colour commentary. He's better than that. However, like you say, he made it fun. He made himself entertaining. He was like, this is the position I'm in at the minute. I'm going to try and nail it, hit it out of the park. Yeah. And he did what he did, and he was fun. As far as the match,
the match for me was pretty forgettable.
Yeah, I remember it being very fast-paced and full of energy, like a lot of the Street Profits and Garza and Andrade matches are.
But just nothing memorable.
Very that's it. As soon as it's finished, it's like, right, yeah, that's done. Next,
yeah. The only thing that I can remember that I actually liked was his 180 frog splash on the top rope.
Yeah,
that was impressive. I really thought that was cool. So the fact he's able to switch himself completely in the opposite direction in midair, I thought that was incredible. Apart from that, it went as expected. I thought the Street Profits were going to come away with a win. I just have no interest in this feud, unfortunately. And it's a shame because the Street Profits are amazing, and I think they've been given the titles too soon, and their run's been kind of just floppy and just not interesting. And unfortunately, it just hasn't worked in this whole thing altogether. And if this is the end of the feud, that's fine. I'm fingers crossed they'll move on to better things, but so far I'm just not bothered.
No, it seems to be on one side with like Garza and Andrade. It seems to be a bit of a clusterfuck with them because if we go back to when Austin Theory and Carrillo were in the mix, it's almost like with those four and Zelina, it was like, we don't really know what to do with these guys. We'll throw them together and see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's all they've done. They've just thrown them together, but not made any effort to like develop their story or characters properly. And with the Street Profits, it's kind of the same. And, I know they had their little promos on Raw and NXT every now and then, but they were called up too early.
Yeah.
Like you say, they got the titles too early. And no offense to them, I really, they are entertaining and they're great athletes, but it feels like there's a mid-card tag team holding the tag champions. But
again, I think that's down to the fact that they were given them too soon. They didn't have time to build them up on the main roster to the point where we're seeding for them to get the titles. They just got given them too quickly. I think that's the reason why.
Yeah, again, so by the time the championship match comes round, it's like, well, they had a mini story with the whole poison thing. It was like, okay, there wasn't much of a story. I'm not invested in most of these characters at all. It'd be one thing if you're like, I don't really give a shit about them, but I give a shit about their opponents.
Yeah.
But when you don't really give a shit about any of them in the match, character-wise, and they've kind of done it on Raw like multiple times already, it's like, well, this is nothing new. So it was the ultimate filler match for me.
Yeah, it was.
And like you say, it probably should have been on the pre-show, but it was kind of like, well, let's give it a bit of diversity and have a tag team on the main card.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was what it was. And again, going in, I had no doubt Street Profits were going to win. So yeah, it just seemed a very like, here it is. Here's all of this energy. Here's what you expect of us. Nothing bad. But again, it was like, well, that happened.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah. Cheers for the... It would have been the piss break match.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect for them, but it's just, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, still tag champions, Street Profits. Next was Mandy Sonia.
Yeah, now this, I was actually really looking forward to this match. Obviously, they changed the hair versus hair to a no DQ, loser leaves WWE. I know it was a bit abrupt, but apparently the whole reason behind it was with the whole thing with Sonya being in court and everything, with this whole kidnapping thing going on back in her own life. Her lawyer basically said, look, it's not going to be looking good on you if you're walking in with a shaved head in the middle of a court proceeding and all that kind of stuff. Said so it's probably not a good idea, so they had to change it because of that. Plus she wants a bit of time off, I think, for a couple of other things, and obviously this is, the fallout of this. So that's why that abrupt change was made. I was looking forward to this match because, they've managed to build a reasonable story with two girls without any titles involved, and I was actually quite interested. I really was. I said that, unfortunately, the match just didn't... It was okay. The thing I really liked was Sonya's trash talking. That was all fucking perfect. I loved that. Unfortunately, when they got all the weapons and stuff out, they didn't really use them to any effect. There was nothing that they really used that much, and then before you know it, it was over. Just ever so quickly, and I'm just like, what? They should have been given more time here, and then Sonya screams and everything, and then Otis runs out and does worming stuff with Mandy, which is nice, but they kind of did that at Mania when Otis got his win, so I just don't see the point, really. I don't mind Sonya losing, but I assume she'll be back anyway. But yeah, the match was just, it had potential to be really, really good, and this proper, even at the start, I thought to myself, I wanted Sonya to go for her before the bell. Because they hate each other so much because of everything that's gone on. It just didn't happen. And like I said, there was aggression there. Was trash talking, which I really enjoyed. But it never really got going for me.
The thing about everything with Sonya leaving the WWE, I understand that. With what she's been going through in her personal life, it's like, well, yeah, time off.
Yeah.
And... for all we know, she might have said, actually, I want to leave, and that's that. But the thing, the character stuff and the aggression that was shown from both characters was fine. As far as the wrestling, I thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. Hardly any, it just seemed very catfight-ish. But even in the catfight, if we go back to when they did it in the Asuka, the catfights, they were on top of each other, slamming each other's heads into the canvas, hair everywhere, scratching and all that. With them, it was like the whole wailing their hands in front of each other. You know, it's hard to do through a podcast.
There's no visual.
They're like, I'm going to get you, flying their hands up and down at each other kind of thing. And hardly any of it was connecting. So it's like, they're not connecting. The shots from Mandy that were connecting were very weak.
Yeah, I mean, the knee shots to the head, she did about 3 of them, and not a single one of them got even near Sonya's head. Yeah,
but even the ones before them, it was kind of like, okay, I get you don't want to hurt your friend, and this is a very choreographed thing, but come on, put an effort into it. You know, this isn't ballet, as they say. It took ages to be able to get the table up.
Yeah.
I was like, come on.
And they didn't even use it. Didn't even get used. The only thing that happened is that they slid the chairs across. That was it.
Yeah, that was a good spot of like the first time when it nearly beheaded.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, fuck.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Shit.
And then they didn't capitalise on it anymore.
No, I think after she eventually got the table up and went round, Sonya might have hit her in the gut with the chair. Everything else, I think that was the only thing they used to their advantage in a no DQ thing. So it kind of made the whole no disqualification thing pointless.
Yeah.
There was no interference, and I think just the one chair shot. So I was like, again, it was no one really expected Mandy to be the one to lose.
Yeah, because it makes sense with the story. She needs to get, Sonya needs to get her comeuppance, and that's fine.
Yeah, it just when the match was over, maybe the struggle was doing it without a live crowd. But it seemed to be like, apart from Sonya, no one really gave a shit that Sonya had to leave the company. There was the commentators didn't sell it enough.
No.
Even if they were trying to sell the opposite of, well, you had this coming, Sonya. They were just kind of like, oh, yeah, Mandy wins, Sonya has to leave. Isn't that fun? Like, is that all?
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to do? But before we can even let the reality settle down of Sonya's leaving the WWE, I say Otis comes out. And I kind of understand why he'd do it in his character of, great, my girlfriend gets to stay and all that. But it kind of took the seriousness off the fact that someone had to leave the company.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wasn't a fan of the whole thing completely. It left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it definitely fell flat.
Yeah, so, yeah, again, very expected, the outcome and everything that would go down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, was what it was. Sonya's going to take time off, or who knows, she might never come back.
I'm pretty sure it's just time off. I reckon she'll be back around Rumble time.
Yeah, she's gone through quite a traumatic experience at the minute.
Absolutely.
So she's probably going to get her head on straight.
Yeah, she deserves some time off.
Yeah. Next was the street fight.
Yes, Seth versus Sweet Baby Ray, Dominik Mysterio. I liked his gear as well. The hood was a bit annoying because it kept getting in the way sometimes, but apart from that, the gear was quite good.
The hood was a mask.
Yeah.
I thought he'd put the hood up and his mask would be on. I'd be like, oh, wow, but no, it's just a hood.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I really liked this. I thought it was a lot of fun. It told an amazing story. I was happy either way with Seth or Dominik winning, because if Dominik wins, then he gets his first debut match at SummerSlam as a win and takes out a big person like Seth. If Seth wins, then it's another kind of flavour to this story where he's just being the Messiah and everything, and all this. And the story they told was really good. I mean, Seth was dominant for the majority, but Dominik got plenty of licks in. And he got plenty of little moments to shine and everything. And he, as far as a wrestling match concerned, I think he did quite well for a first match. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the interactions with Ray and his mum coming out and all that kind of stuff. And Buddy getting involved at certain points. I also like the fact that they handcuffed Ray and then they curb stomped Dominik for the loss in front of Ray. And that was all good. I really enjoyed that storyline. I can't really grumble with it. I'm not saying it was a clinic, but I think it was a fun match. There was some fun wrestling spots in it, and the story told was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page. I thought it was very good, to the point of I think we discussed this in the past. It's so hard to get behind a heel properly to the point that you want to boo him in a kayfabe era where we know okay, they're being bad guys, but they're not really bad guys.
Yeah.
So, but the way they sold it of like when Seth was in control, and obviously Dominik had told Ray, look, be there, but stay out of it. So Ray was selling the conflict great of what do I do, and Seth just rubbing it in his face of like, come on in, help save your son. It made me as go back into fan mode of like, I really want Dominik to stand up and kick his teeth down his throat.
Yeah.
So I began to get invested in that way of like, I want Dominik to do this. Then I was kind of on the same conflict level of Ray of like, on one side I wanted Ray to stay out of it. On the other side I was like, well, it would be great if he just popped in there and either kicked Buddy in the face or Seth in the face, but then what would Dominik's reaction be?
Yeah.
So it was all these factors of like, what should we do? What could happen? And it kept me invested. I probably would have used more advantage of the whole street fight thing. I think there might have been a couple of chair shots, a table spot, and then it was just the kendo sticks.
The table spot was good, where Dominik sacrificed himself and put them both through a table. That was good.
Yeah. For the leg sweep, yeah. So again, as well, the thing, as soon as Buddy got involved, I was thinking, Ray, you promised not to get involved between Dominik and Seth. If Buddy gets involved, by all means, don't kick Buddy's teeth in.
Yeah, well, he did. He did attack him.
He did. Yeah, as soon as, because didn't his mum come out?
Yeah, she stood at the top of the ring.
Talk her down. Yeah, well, that was as a fan thing. As soon as Ray was trying to talk her down, Buddy and Seth did a double team, and I'm like, Ray, turn around! Your son's getting like double teamed in. Then when he turned up, like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
And like I say, with the whole handcuffing thing, and it went from there. I think, on one side, I think the decision was right. It would be kind of a ballsy move for Dominik, who's still a rookie kid, to beat Seth, who's like one of the top dogs in WWE.
Well, yeah, I'd say he is the top guy in WWE. Think about how much he's accomplished. He's won every single title a few times. He's beaten Brock Lesnar twice. He's won the Rumble. He's won the briefcase. He's done so much in his time there. So he is one of the biggest deals in that company. So, yeah, that's why I'm not against Dominik losing.
No, I'm not against it. And it, regardless of the Mysterio Seth storyline, it adds more fuel to the new character and stable and story that Seth's going to be doing as like a build-up to more to his heel.
Yeah, it legitimises his kind of stable a little bit more.
Yeah, but on the other side, I thought, well, there's been 2 or 3 major matches between the Mysterios and Seth now, and the Mysterios haven't won any of them. So I just thought it might be time for one of them to, the Mysterio family, to get a tick in the win column.
I would say the best thing is they'll probably do a tag match, and then Buddy will eat the pin.
Yeah, I think something like that, without giving too much away, I think something like that happened on Raw.
All right.
But obviously, with Payback, literally this Sunday, they'll probably do something there as well.
Yeah.
But yes, for Dominik's debut match, I thought he did very well.
He did do very well. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I was impressed. And again, not giving spoilers because you haven't watched TakeOver yet. But all I'm going to say, I won't say if it was a good performance or bad performance, but Pat McAfee in his match with Cole, just your jaw's going to be on the floor.
Right.
I'm not giving away if it was like your jaw's going to be on the floor of like, come on, dude, you suck, or oh my god, you are amazing. But I was just like watching, like, really? Holy shit! Like,
right. Okay.
I couldn't believe it, to the point that I think Pat McAfee's performance had more of an impact on that SummerSlam weekend than Dominik's did.
Yeah. Okay.
Dominik was great, but believe me, Pat's will stick in your mind.
Right, okay, I'll check that out. I will get round to it, I swear. So yeah, that was a good match overall. Seth wins with the curb stomp.
Yeah, but I don't think the storyline's over.
No.
Really, between the guys yet. Okay, next was, let me see if I can get this right. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, next was the Raw Women's Championship.
Yes, so part 2, Endgame, Asuka versus Sasha for the Raw. I like the clean sweep promo beforehand. I think it was earlier in the night. But yeah, it was. I think another good match as well. I thought it was solid. It told again more good stories, more like those two trying to get away with certain things. Bayley kind of getting involved and almost distracting Asuka, but then Asuka managed to knock her off, and it managed to kind of cause Sasha to lose the belt in a way. It was like a weird kind of way that she was trying to help but not, and kind of caused it. So yeah, she taps Sasha out and wins the Raw Championship, and I like it because it's the first big chink in the chain for the Bayley Banks kind of thing. So there's going to see how this goes now. I reckon they've got to defend their tag titles at Payback, so I reckon they'll lose them there, and then it will be down to Bayley just having the title, and then it will go down to dissension in the ranks. They'll argue, they'll bitch and moan and complain and fight, and then it will be those two for the title. So yeah, I can't complain. I think this is a good end to this story. I'm glad that Asuka's got the title again. Solid match. Again, it's like the first one. I don't remember loads of spots, but I just remember it being serviceable and solid and a good story told. So I can't really complain with it.
I really enjoyed it more than I thought because, again, not knocking it, but I thought Bayley Asuka wasn't really jaw-droppingly great.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, okay. And then Sasha, I kind of went in with that kind of same attitude with Sasha and Asuka. But just to for it to be full circle, there was at the Dominik Seth match, there was a powerbomb really hard to Dominik at one point where I thought he was going to go through the fucking ring.
Yeah.
Then there was the senton flip powerbomb to Asuka.
Oh yeah, the sunset flip. Yeah, to the outside of the ring. I thought she was concussed. I thought she was concussed. I was looking, I don't know how well she was selling it, but I just looking at her eyes and I'm just like, she doesn't look like she's all there.
No, but then when she does get in the ring, it's still like touch and go. Like, is she selling? Is she okay?
Yeah.
Then Sasha comes in with a kick.
Kicks her. Full on boots her in the face.
Yeah. It was just a lot of holy fuck moments to the point of it showed how badass of an character Asuka is. And also shown, as far as Sasha's character, how merciless she was being. But yeah, when the ball started getting around, when I think Asuka just screamed and went batshit on her. That's when it kind of went back and forth of all these reversal pins and submissions, and she couldn't get the Asuka lock in properly, so Sasha gets the bank statement. It was very exciting and back and forth. And yeah, like you say, I think Bayley tried to do the exact same thing Sasha did with the distraction. But I can't remember if Asuka swung at Bayley and missed or got her or what happened. But eventually she got the Asuka lock in, and that was it.
Tapped her. So once again, Sasha has not been able to defend her title correctly on the first go.
No, but also apparently she has never successfully defended the title at a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Ever. So there's a streak for her. But yeah, I was fine with it because I was worried that if Asuka lost this one as well, it wouldn't be a burial as such, but I'd be like, oh my God, come on.
Yeah.
This is Asuka we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it's like, right, that's interesting. I'm happy Asuka is Raw Women's Champ again. The other element of it is that it looks like Sasha can never beat Asuka fairly one-on-one. And it adds more flavour to the Bayley-Sasha storyline.
Yeah, so it ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they're not going to pull the trigger too soon on the Bayley-Sasha.
I think it's going to be, they'll lose the tag titles, and then I would say before the end of the year they're going to be going against each other. I don't think they'll hold out to Mania or Rumble. I think, maybe Rumble at the latest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if they're going to do, even though it'd be quite long-winded, if in a couple of pay-per-views down the line, Sasha wins the Raw Women's Championship back, they're elated, but then later in the night, Bayley loses her SmackDown Women's Championship, so it's like, well, we're back at square one, but, different sides now.
Yeah.
And then maybe, because I kind of, with this storyline, the way it's being done, we're finally getting a bit of longevity with this. It seems to me that if it's going to come to a head, it should be WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just I don't know how much longer they can make this last before we start to go, okay, it's getting boring now. Because we're at that point where we've had the first big crack with a title loss. So the next one will be another title loss. And then they're either going to go with a case of they'll lose the third title and they'll just be going against each other titleless. Or they're going to go against each other for the title. So it really depends on which way they go with it. If they go with they lose all the gold, then they can spread this out a little bit more and probably make it to Mania. But if they're deciding that they're going to be going against each other for the SmackDown Women's Championship, then they can't really leave it until Mania.
Yeah, I mean, what they could do is, a lot of hot potato win with the belts, like I said. And then around December time, they lose all the gold, and that's when everyone's like, right, this is the boiling point. And they almost kind of disappoint all the fans when they come out together and go, you know what, gold or no gold, we're still friends. This ain't going to break us apart. And was like, oh, all right. But then the Royal Rumble comes round. They both are desperate for a taste of gold again. So one of them betrays the other in the Royal Rumble, which sets the seeds for WrestleMania.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be too bad idea if you can try to spread that out reasonably, yeah.
Yeah, it's the spreading it out.
Yeah, it's making sure it's done correctly where we don't feel like we're getting bored, like we're spreading not enough butter over bread, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to pull the trigger too soon, but you don't want to leave it too long that by the time it comes around, you've gone, like, I don't give a shit now.
Yeah, so at the moment they're doing everything right, so let's just pray they keep doing the right things.
Yeah. Next was Drew Orton, WWE
Yes, the WWE Championship match. I really like this match. I thought it was good. I think it felt a little bit more like a kind of classic wrestling match. Just two big burly bastards going against each other. It was a bit slow to begin with, but then it just built and built and built to the fact that there was so many times it might have been an RKO or it might have been a Claymore or it might have been this, that and the other. And they played off each other quite well. It showed that Orton can, once again, he can go when he wants to put the effort in. Drew's still awesome anyway. The only thing I would say is that the way that the match ended, it's weird because I felt one way about it, and then when we come to the end of the pay-per-view, it kind of changed my mind a little bit about it, because the whole tagline for SummerSlam was "You'll never see it coming," and the whole time that we're pushed for that tagline to be the Orton-Drew match, whether it's going to be the Claymore or the RKO, that's the thing you're never going to see coming. And they kind of swerved us in the fact that he didn't get a Claymore, he didn't get an RKO, and then he managed to get him in on a backslide to retain his championship. You're like, oh, so he didn't get either. But then we get something at the later point of the pay-per-view where that was the thing that made me go, that's the bit we didn't see coming. And I just felt like that was a very good sleight of hand for WWE, and it's very rare they do that kind of stuff. So,
well, I think I'd said to you, like, a few weeks back, like, I genuinely thought if there's going to be a match at SummerSlam that Retribution to get involved in, it'd be this one. They weren't there at all.
No, they weren't.
Which was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
But, yeah, I remember early on in the match, I can't remember if Orton went for an RKO or what he was going to do, but Drew had to roll out and kind of weigh up his decisions and go, oh, hang on a minute. It was almost like this is the first opponent he's had where he's got to think a bit more. Yeah, because no offense to the likes of Dolph and Bobby Lashley and stuff, but even the storyline was kind of going. Not only is Orton the veteran here, but he's that damn good, and he's quite a twisted psychopath. He could take me out at any point.
Yeah, so I think that played really well into the start of the match as well, with Orton just constantly sliding out of the ring, because he was doing it to be methodical and to piss Drew off and get him riled up to make him lose focus. So again, even though there wasn't much happening at the start, the story was still being told.
Yeah, again, unfortunately, I don't remember the match being bad, really, but the only thing that really stood out for me, apart from the start and the end, were... he did the whole Tree of Woe thing where he sat up and then belly to belly Orton off the top rope. Yeah. Other than that, again, not a knock. It was just kind of your pretty standard what you'd expect from a Drew McIntyre Randy Orton matchup. I think what they did with the backslide, I was okay with the backslide because, like I say, again, the backslide is another way of like we didn't see that coming.
No, I know, but I just feel like there was something that happened later in the pay-per-view that ended up being what the point of the tagline was.
Yeah, but the fact that not only was there not an RKO and a kick-out or a Claymore and a kick-out, The fact you didn't see an RKO or a Claymore, to me, is quite obvious they're protecting both characters, both finishers, and there's going to be another match down the line.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't surprise me if it might be payback, or they might wait till Clash of Champions if they go for it again. But they need to be able to build up both finishers enough that the fans believe the first of these two to hit their finisher is the winner.
That is the end, yeah.
Yeah. It was okay, and I'm fine with the outcome.
I'm fine with it. I even felt like he got a little bit of a kind of crowd kind of appreciation, even though it was the screens and everything. I still felt like he got like the next step of a thing to enjoy. Yeah,
I was more on the sort of line of, it doesn't happen all the time, but a lot of the time when a new champion is crowned at WrestleMania, they'll hold it till SummerSlam and lose it there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad they're going away from that route this time of like, we're going to keep the belt and Drew.
Yeah.
Saying that, it kind of defeats what I just said when we get to the main event.
Like I said, that was a good match. Yeah, main event was Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, versus Braun Strowman for the the Blue Universal Champion, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, count anyone.
The match wasn't amazing. It was all right. It was fine. It just didn't. The Falls Count Anywhere thing didn't really come into it.
No,
more or less at all. I don't think. I think I remember seeing maybe one count that was out of the ring.
As soon as they went to the gorilla position, they went through the curtain to gorilla position. Like, all right, here we go. It's going to be. You don't have to worry about the live crowd. You can do the whole backstage wrestling thing.
Yeah.
They fought in the gorilla position and then fought right back out to the ring. It was like, what's the point?
I mean, I did like a few spots, the toolbox and all that kind of stuff. I liked the aggression that obviously the Fiend had, even with Braun Strowman still had it. But I like the fact that they showed straight away that Fiend is powerful enough to lift and throw him, because he did, didn't he? He uranaged him like within 30 seconds. I was like, right, okay, we're constantly showing the power of this guy, which is good. They're building him back up again the way we want to. And like I said, there were a few spots here and there, and I didn't mind it. I like the fact that Braun ripped up the ring and all that kind of stuff. And then it was the Fiend that gave him 2 Sister Abigails to put him away and take the title. So Fiend's your champion again, which I'm fine with. I think that's. I'm glad that he's done it, because I don't want the Fiend to eat a pin from someone like Braun Strowman. He shouldn't be really eating pins from many people at all. He's got the championship again, and I'm fine with that. I really. I'm glad that happened. I just felt like the match could have had a little bit more body to it. There just wasn't loads going on, given the circumstance.
It was one of them where I was going in with the whole... I love Bray as just a wrestler, character, the whole thing. Braun, I don't dislike the guy, but it's more about his size and strength than his wrestling ability.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure. I was interested in his character change that started a few weeks back, but I wasn't sure about it. So going into the match, it was more like, right, I'm not expecting a wrestling clinic here, but I'm invested because of what the story's done and who these two people are. So, I watched the match. It was entertained by most of it, but like you say, it was kind of like the Falls Count Anywhere thing is kind of pissed in the wind here, because I get that the whole story could be, we know these two are going to tear each other apart and they can't do it under proper rules because they're monsters. They're going to destroy probably the arena as well as each other. So why not make it no holds barred then?
Yeah.
The Falls Count Anywhere thing just seemed a bit redundant after all that.
Yeah.
The Sister Abigails on the wood never really hit the wood.
Yeah, I think the first one just about connected, but the second one definitely didn't.
No, and I just thought with the way they're trying to build up this monster Braun, it probably still would have took a little bit more than that to take Braun down.
Maybe, but it is the Fiend. It's not just someone else. It's the Fiend. So it's like fine.
I get it's the Fiend. I still would have gone with the same outcome, but maybe a little bit more punishment to Braun. Yeah. I was expecting something with Alexa.
Yeah, and even she put up something on her Twitter, like kind of annoyed, like, well, why wasn't I involved? Because I've been involved for the last 3 weeks with this storyline. So yeah, it was a bit weird that she didn't get involved. However, I suppose obviously we've got to talk about the final moments of this match and pay-per-view overall. This is the bit that none of us saw coming. Mr. Roman Reigns has appeared and he speared the Fiend before he could even celebrate. Then he came outside the ring and beat the shit out of Braun with a chair. Then he came back in and speared Fiend again and took the title and held it up. He had a Wreck Everyone and Leave t-shirt. He had his teeth done, which is funny, but he was fucking jacked as well. He looked fucking huge. I actually really like this because the way that they put this forward, at the end of it, I'm like, is he a heel or is he a face? Because I'm generally not too sure. He's done very heel things in coming back and spearing them and attacking them both and being pissed off. But is it a full-on heel turn or is it him just going, I'm going to go for a more aggressive character. I'm not going to sit there and smile and be John Cena kind of thing. I'm going to go in here, like you say, wreck everyone and leave. So I like the fact that they've left it up to interpretation to kind of figure out whereabouts is he going to be going, going forward, really. What's he going to be doing? And I really liked it. It potentially has revitalised the character of Roman Reigns. And I'm interested to see what happens next.
I was shocked as well, in a good way, when Roman turned up. I was like, again, holy shit, didn't see that coming, that whole thing. The only qualms I got with the whole heel thing, don't get me wrong, I would love it if he's on SmackDown this Friday and he confirms it was a heel turn. But I don't think it was purely because of the two people involved that he attacked. Braun had kind of turned heel.
Yeah, they're both kind of heel, yeah.
Yeah, and despite Bray being cheered everywhere he goes, he's meant to be a heel character. So it was the hero returning to take down the monsters. That's
yeah, I know, but normally I don't think it didn't feel like a hero thing to me, because a hero's return would be one spear and then holding up the title with like a smile on top of the ring or some shit like that. But it wasn't. He came in pissed off and he didn't just do one spear to the champion, which is the person he's kind of going to be zoning in on. He beat the shit out of the both of them. And it's just like he was really aggressive, really pissed off, and he had no reason to do that. But he did it, so that's why I'm not saying he will turn heel, because I don't necessarily think he will. But I like the fact that they give you that, they plant that seed to think, maybe it will happen.
Maybe, and I get the all that aggression, all pissed off, he's got to be a heel kind of thing. And yet, you just described the two attributes of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, and that, again, and I suppose you're right, yeah, and to be honest, I wouldn't mind if Reigns goes down that kind of route, where it's just aggression and being pissed off, and just like, you're not the fucking big dog here, I'm the big dog, and I'm going to prove it by beating the crap out of you.
Yeah, Cole nearly ruined it, so he said, "Oh my god, it's the big
dog." No, I'm sick of him overpronouncing every fucking syllable of every. I'm already annoyed with the word Thunderdome because he goes WWE Thunderdome, and I'm just like, shut up, just shut up, just get up and fuck off. Find someone else. I'm sick to death of him. He's driving me crazy. It really is.
I guarantee, though, that'll be a Vince thing of emphasise this.
Yeah, it is. Of course it is. But the problem is with... Yeah, it is a Vince thing. But the problem is Cole's such a fucking happy to suck Vince's cock all day that he'll just say yes all the time. It's just like, mate, just say, no, I'm not doing that. Because it's not natural, it's not organic, it makes me sound like a dick, and everybody hates me.
Yeah, it's like, when Heyman does the whole Brock Lesnar, it's like, well, not only do we like Heyman, but he delivers it well.
Yeah.
With Cole, it's like, dude, you're just a tool.
You're a robot. You're just a robot. Yeah. That's all you are.
So Roman comes in. He's got Ross Geller's teeth.
Oh, did you see Randy Orton's thing on Instagram?
No.
Oh, he put a picture of Reigns' teeth and then a big horse with massive teeth saying, straight from the horse's mouth.
Oh, for God's sake. I couldn't take... No, I saw the T-shirt first. I thought, that's a good T-shirt. And then I was trying to, check out this, kind of black Superman-looking beard.
Oh, the beard looked good.
It was just like, teeth!
Teeth!
Teeth! Yelling at me. But my biggest problem with this was he speared the Fiend once, and the Fiend was down for fucking ages.
No, he speared him twice.
Yeah, but the first spear...
the first one, then he went to Braun, then he went back to Bray.
Yeah, but the first spear, Bray remained down the entire time. I was like, really? Out of everything that the Fiend has overcome and got up from straight away, we're really going back to this whole thing of like, well, Roman's that strong, the spear can put him down for a long time. So I'm concerned again. I'm concerned Roman's just been brought back in to be the guy to take out the guy who's got all this momentum behind him at the minute. Just another fuck you from WWE.
I mean, I'm hoping that's not the case because they were doing all right with Reigns before, just building him back up slowly. However, we've all kind of agreed that maybe the Fiend shouldn't have had the title as early as he had. Didn't really need to be in a title picture, but at the end of the day, if he's going against Braun, yes, of course I want him to win because you need to protect the character. I've heard that apparently at Payback it's going to be a triple threat. Now, that I'm okay with because I think they can do one of two things here. They can either have Bray retain and be dominant and, you know, make sure that he keeps that dominance, or they can have Reigns win by pinning Braun Strowman. That way, you've got Braun and Reigns that are going into a feud with the Universal title, and then you've got the Fiend that doesn't lose anything in this defeat because he didn't get pinned, and he can carry on building this character as he is without having to worry about him putting him into a title picture all the time and eating pins and stuff. So there is potential to do the right thing there. It just depends on which way they decide to go. But either way, I think the triple threat is a good idea.
The only problem I'd have with it is if Bray does lose at Payback, it's like, what? So he's had it a week. He's had the championship a week. What was the point? I would have rathered you could have done two birds with one stone here. You could really use the Falls Count Anywhere thing. I've gone like, right, okay, they're proper backstage, they're kicking the shit at each other. Braun goes to get like a weapon or something. He goes around the corner to get a weapon, and while he's doing that, Bray rises and goes after him, walks into whatever room Braun's gone in, and he's already laid out. And we're like, what the hell? And then the spear comes out of nowhere to Bray, and that's the whole, oh my God, that's Roman Reigns. Kicks the shit out of them backstage to the point neither of them can get up, and that's how SummerSlam ends. It's a no contest. Braun's still champ, but you can still have the triple threat, and that's when, you know, if you want to throw it on Roman or Bray at that point, yeah, do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same result, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, it just, because, that's it. It just to be annoying for Bray to go, I'm champion again. And for the following pay-per-view, which is 7 days away, him to just lose it again.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the only downside. The only thing I'm trying to rein the terrain here is the fact that we've got two options here. We can either have Bray as champion for a while and whatnot, and that'll be great and fine as long as he's dominant, or we can have him lose it in a way that it's not going to affect his character. That's what so that's why the triple threat thing works, which is why I'm thinking that at the end of this, it hopefully won't be a big deal. The only way they're going to fuck this up is if Reigns takes the title by pinning the Fiend. Then you've just wrecked everything. You've put Reigns back on top like that, and you've ruined the Fiend. So that's the only way they can fuck this up.
What I'd like them to do is, if you want to throw the championship on Roman, great. Maybe keep this whole, is he a bad guy, is he a heel thing going a little bit.
On the fence.
We're just not sure. And then for months, Roman's just tearing through everybody. When it gets to Mania 37, that's when Bray can pop back up going, I ain't forgot about you, and I want my toy back.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be the original plan of Fiend Roman at WrestleMania. You can go through with that. You can give that concern to the fans of, oh, God, this is it. This is the Mania where Roman puts down Bray. The best thing's happening in ages. And yet they swerve us, and at WrestleMania, Bray absolutely destroys him and takes the belt back. You can do that. The only two things I would have loved to have happened is, I think I mentioned one of, if Alexa was there, Braun ready to, take the victory, and then all those lights, the whole shut down the lights again. And do you remember that doll that Bray had left in Miz's car?
Yeah.
Have Alexa turn up dressed as that in front of Braun, and Braun's just in such shock he doesn't know what to do, and Alexa is the distraction for Bray to get the win, because it opens up another storyline. Holy shit, Alexa's now with Bray? What the fuck?
Yeah.
The other thing I thought, which still could happen, what did his t-shirt say again? Roman's t-shirt?
Wreck everyone and leave.
Right. Who's been doing that recently?
I don't know.
Retribution. What
Yeah.
is the leader of Retribution?
This was one thing I was going to mention. There's apparently, it's just a rumour at the moment, but people have been putting up an article saying, what if Reigns is the leader of Retribution? And I thought, that'll be amazing. That's definitely a heel turn if that happens, but fuck, that'll be awesome. What a way to bring him back into the fold.
But could you imagine though if after the match with Bray and Braun, that's when Retribution strike, they're beating them both down, but they both power up to fight back, and then Roman comes out and spears both Bray and Braun. You're like, what the hell? They kick the shit out of them, and SummerSlam ends with Retribution and all that at the top of the ramp with Bray at the head of the pack. Not Bray, Roman at the head of the pack of holy shit, is this? Because that would have been a definitive heel turn.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Holy shit, this, and he can come out on SmackDown or whatever, go, these are my new hounds of justice. And now we're doing it my way. It's what? That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they've got some other storyline in the back pocket. I was surprised and fine with Roman's return. I'm interested to see where it goes. But I just, they had a lot of other options they could have done.
Yeah, they could have, but I still thought it was. I still thought it was good overall. I still think the return was shocking. Didn't expect it, and there was a lot out there that made me think, it could be this, that, and the other, which I like.
Yeah. So ratings.
Yes. So out of 10, there were some bad points to this. Like I said, I think the tag titles were forgettable. The Mandy Rose Sonya thing, unfortunately, didn't live up to expectations. But the rest of it, I really enjoyed. I thought it was a good, solid SummerSlam. I think the pomp and circumstance with the lights and the fireworks, the screens were all fine for me. It felt like a bigger deal. The crowd pumping, sounding didn't really bother me at all. Overall, I think it's the first pay-per-view in quite a while that I really quite enjoyed myself, and just it felt a little bit more normal again after being so long in the Performance Centre. Just there was some more normality to this, and I did really enjoy it. And there was a lot of things that happened in this that I didn't expect to happen. Obviously, Reigns being the biggest one of that. I would give it. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was quite decent.
I'm kind of the other side of the coin here a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of that, the whole show that in a few weeks' time it's just very forgettable, unfortunately, I think. So, again, like I say, Mandy Sonya didn't really deliver for me. Raw tag titles were very forgettable. From what I can remember, Drew Orton was okay, but definitely not match of the year candidate or anything like that. Bayley and Asuka was, again, passable. And the Universal title thing I enjoyed. I just kind of wanted a bit more from it. More length and a bit more destruction. So, it's hard. Again, I've always said this. It's hard to look at it almost subjectively when there's no fans there. But I just thought if that show went down exactly the same way, was booked exactly the same way in front of a live audience, I don't think the crowd would have been as satisfying. I expect a lot from SummerSlam. It's the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. And I just, the last couple of years, I don't think SummerSlam's really hit its stride. You and me were very disappointed with SummerSlam last year.
You froze a bit then.
So I did stop as well because I'm thinking I might just go straight down the middle and give it a 5.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, it ticked some boxes for me, but like I say, I'm very used to what SummerSlam should be, and I just don't think it hit that SummerSlam excitement. It hit a passable pay-per-view, but not SummerSlam, if you get the drift.
That's fine. I mean, I agreed to disagree because I thought it was a decent SummerSlam. I really enjoyed it, so I was entertained.
Yeah, I just think if we'd gone to the Birmingham Walkabout Bar to watch it, I don't know if I would have left there satisfied either. You know, it's one of them. So it was what it was. It was okay, but it wasn't like the greatest SummerSlam I've ever seen, so to speak.
So that's SummerSlam reviewed and done. We've got obviously Payback coming, so I can't imagine we'll do a lockdown podcast this week. It will literally just be Payback the following thing, because I've had a lot of content pop up the other day with loads of DC shit going on. So I've just been so busy with all that. So I think we'll leave the lockdown one for this week, and you'll see us next time for Payback.
Yeah, that sounds cool with me.
So like, subscribe, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.